I'm here at the Moorepark Open Day 2013. One of the big areas that we're looking at this year is financial planning on farms, and we're promoting this for farmers as really a means to analyse their business and look at moving forward. One of the big issues this year was the fodder crisis, and that has led to a lot of cash flow difficulties, and part of the solution to that is cash flow planning and being able to analyse your business on an ongoing basis and take actions when needed. And one of the tools to do that is proper financial planning and farm planning. So we'd start off with farm planning, and that's more looking at the physical side of the business. So what stocking rate have I? What soil type have I? Am I going to expand, or what rate of expansion should I take on? So if the physical side can be looked after, it'll lead on to the financial side. So in terms of physical plans, we're dealing with the easier intro into farm planning. So it's something that a farmer can do. They can say, I want to go from 60 cows to 80 cows. My target is to go to 100 cows. And then you'd look at the rate, and you can start analysing it and parsing it and seeing, what do I need to do then? Do I need to go and reseed? Do I need new water system? Do I need new buildings? And that's where the financial starts kicking in then, that you put prices on those. One of the big things, I suppose, in terms of farm planning is the underestimate of the cost of taking on extra investment. That generally, in experience and practice, we'd find that farmers tend to underestimate by maybe a factor of 20 or 30% the actual costs of any future expansion. And another thing that they don't tend to take account of is the cost of the dairy stock. If they retain replacement heifers, they don't tend to take account that that's going to eat up working capital. They don't have those heifers to sell, or they don't have cull cows to sell. So that's like making an investment. A replacement heifer costing €1,500, it's like making that investment in your farm, and they don't tend to borrow for that, to try to do it out of cash flow. So in terms of business planning, what we're trying to do is bring all these issues together so that at the start of the process, the farmer sits down and works through and decides, what is the best option for me? What's the speed I can go to that option? Maybe what borrowing do I need to do? Or maybe I shouldn't be doing it at all. And maybe I should start, one of the first things that you should do is start looking at their current efficiency, because that will determine how much return they'll get from any expansion. So the model that we would use is the Teagasc profit monitor to analyse the efficiency of the farm, and that will tell you how much money you're currently making on a per litre, on a per cow, on a per hectare basis, and it'll give you the scope to maybe expand or determine what return on investment you'll get if you do expand. The feeling at Moorepark today is very positive in all, because of the weather, and everybody's in good form. But talking to farmers, cows are milking well, milk prices are good, but there's an overhang of costs from the spring and from last year. And that's the kind of topic. They have it in the back of their minds because of the good weather and the way things are going now, but it's there. It's something that needs to be handled. And I suppose when we talk about putting money aside for a rainy day, the first thing we need to do is fill the hole that was created from last year and this spring, and then we'll start building up reserves, because one thing is sure, that there's going to be more volatility in the future, whether it's weather or milk price, and part of business planning is realising at what rate of expansion you can go and what reserve you need to have. So in terms of the overall cash flow buffer that you might need, that's crucial. In the past, expanding farmers, you might have had dry stock to sell, if things went tight. And farmers are great when things take a downturn, they tighten the belt another notch. And an advisor said to me in 2009, why are not too many dairy farmers are going to the wall because of the milk price? Why aren't they? And the answer is because they tighten the belt and they tighten it again and they get through it. And in relation to that, I suppose some debt was taken on and it was paid off relatively quickly when prices rebounded. So part of business planning is planning for that volatility that's going to come in the future, having the capacity to take it on, and having the capacity to deal with the professionals, the banks, to get that finance in place and realise that it's part of the process. That it fits into the overall running of the business, that you need this working capital and you need this buffer. Farming is not a linear business. It will have ups and downs, And in fairness, I think if the banks are addressed with a profitable farmer, an efficient farmer who has a bump in the road, that they will meet him. But it's important that you do your homework and that you put the work into putting a plan together. Often what you have is guys who run over in the overdraft and their credit rating gets hit, and then they start looking for finance. So we would be definitely pushing that to take it a step back from there before you get into that sort of a overdraft limit situation, that you take on, you put that cash aside or that debt aside into a medium-term loan, and you deal with it before it becomes a crisis. What I'd say in a nutshell is a good plan now is better than a great plan in the future, because you need to get the plan into action now. We'll all know what we should have done in 2 years hence, but to put a reasonable plan in place now to give you some guidelines and look at your options.